Hello, this presentation will be about living with an adopted dad, a personal reflection of the roles and experiences in my family by me, Jennifer Makepeace. According to Barbara Steck, for a child, adoption represents affiliation breakup with at least one birth parent and affiliation creation with an adoptive parent. And this lifelong process of the persons involved in this triangle of biological parent and adoptive parents and the child. My biological mother died this week. And along with the stressors involved with losing my mom and everything that accompanies that process, I have an added stress about my dad, a man who chose to adopt me when he married my mom in 1974, hence my mom's perfect Farrah Fawcett hair. I was 2 at the time. His parents were my grandparents. At the time when this picture was taken, I didn't know my family was any different than most of my peers. I didn't realize at that time that my dad had adopted me. I was reared in a very small town in Ohio, and the families I knew for the most part looked like mine. A mom, a dad, a child, or children. I didn't realize I was different. My dad had been married before my mom. I knew that. He had 3 sons that were referred to as my brothers, and they're still my brothers. They've reached out to me this week with their sentiments of condolences. We were a blended family, even though we did not see his sons often as I was growing up as a child, because they lived out of state. For the most part in my childhood, I was brought up as an only child and was nurtured primarily by my maternal grandmother, who always lived with us, and by my dad, who was an excellent provider. My mom was there too in the capacity her mental health permitted, but my main nurturers were my grandmother and my dad. I loved them all, and they all loved me in our multi-generational family. When I was around 9 years old, my dad explained that he had adopted me when he married my mom. I was only 2 at the time, as I had mentioned, when they married, and they had dated prior to their marriage, so I never had known anybody but him as a father figure, and until he told me that he was not my biological father, I was never made to feel any differently. He always was and always has been and always will be my dad. I was very close to my dad growing up. We went fishing, played games. I was close with his parents. They were my grandparents and took me to church with them every Sunday until I was later elementary school aged. My dad's relationship to his parents and his work ethic, his overall characteristics, charity to others, I appreciate in him and have attempted to emulate. My father's presence in my life was and is profound, and his roles made a great impact on my life, and our lack of biological connection never really seemed to have an impact, especially from his perspective. My parents divorced when I was 12 years old, and I am still grateful that I have my dad. He did not contribute to my DNA makeup, but he's never made any difference in me from his other children, as far as I can tell. I have, though, from the moment that he told me, felt a disconnect from him and his family, and due to nothing they have ever done. But even with the divorce, and especially after the divorce, as I matured and became a parent myself, there was a part of me that always felt like his love and presence for me was done somewhat in an act of charity to me and out of a sense of obligation because he had married my mother. He never did anything to make me feel that way. That's something that I internally almost immediately started feeling. And I also knew that he adopted his previous wife's firstborn son. So for him and his family, that I was not genetically linked to their family never seemed to matter to them at all. Yet I sense a not belonging. I always have, and apparently I guess I always will. I did meet my other biological contributor one time when I was 12 years old, very soon after my parents' divorce. I never had had any connection with him or his family either before or after that one meeting. My entire paternal experience was with my dad that my mom married when I was 2 that adopted me. And I'm not sad about that. I'm very grateful for him. He is and was a good man, and my biological male contributing parent was not a good individual. So I'm very fortunate to have had my adopted dad in my life. As I mentioned, my dad's relationship with his parents was very respectful, and his loyalty to his family has made me desire to be loyal to my family. As we navigate this incredibly sad time putting my mother to rest, I will respect her wishes to not permit him to attend her celebration of life. But that too will make me sad, because so much of who I am is because of my connection to my adopted dad and everything he has always done to provide for our family.